The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Knapik and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show. It is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I'm your host, Bill Knapik. Thank you for joining us on this fantastic weekend. Once again, we are episode 552 right now. We're glad you're listening. And also, we want to remind you, in case you want to access this show and not just hear it like you may be doing right now, you may say, hey, I want to see the excitement in the studio. I want to see the guests. You can simply go to stewart.com/radio. That's right. And you can access not just this show, but any of the shows in the past several hundred shows by going to stewart.com/radio. So once again, thanks for being here. We have tremendous individuals on the show, and we're going to start with Farron Daigle. His company is Farron Daigle Real Estate. Farron, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill. Glad to be here.
Good to see you again. It's been several hundred shows since you've been on.
It's been a while.
Glad you didn't forget about us. In the meantime, Farron, let's tell people about your company, Farron Daigle Real Estate.
Been an independent broker since about the beginning of COVID. 2020, got into business in 1998 and worked with independent brokers for a while, 10 years with RE/MAX, and then decided to go out and do my own thing.
So here you are, broker-owner, Farron Daigle Real Estate. And let's give people an idea. Certainly as a real estate professional, you have a Texas license at least.
Correct.
So you can go anywhere in Texas. But where do you find yourself geographically the most, let's say, in, I don't know, the last couple months?
I office and live down in the Clear Lake area near Galveston Bay and Clear Lake. So that's really my predominant market area. I do work by referral, so I travel quite a bit all around our general Houston area. But Clear Lake, I would say, is home base.
And as far as helping, you're helping buyers and sellers, right?
Yes.
Lately, who have you been helping the most?
The listing activity seems to be picking up quite a bit since the end of the year, but I'm working both with buyers and sellers. I've got a few buyers in contract right now. In fact, 3 of them with Stewart Title.
Thank you so much, Farron. We love you. There's no doubt about it. We are there. In fact, Stewart Title, we have so many offices right here to help people. But give us an idea. Let's talk about the seller for just for a minute, as we somehow talk about buyers all the time. But sellers, when you're talking with someone here, say in the last couple of weeks, about listing their home, give us an example. How do you coach the seller at this point in time? Because there's been so many changes in real estate. Everyone's seeing the interest rate situation, always talking about it and things like that. How are you coaching that seller?
It's real interesting, I think, on the seller side. One, it's taken a little bit, I think, to get the mental shift away from the COVID era when homes were selling above listing price quite frequently. We're now more back to what I call a real Texas market, where prices sometimes are negotiated rather than someone coming in and paying over asking price for a property. And of course, it's a lot of the old adage still holds true. The property's got to be properly prepared, and expectations have to kind of be managed to be real, not unreal.
And as far as the Clear Lake area, in terms of, again, the listing homes that are in Clear Lake and near our office down there near the Space Center, a lot of people are familiar with the area. What are some of the considerations down there when selling homes? And also, what are the key drivers for people that want to buy a home in those areas?
I think there's a number of things that are really positive about our area, especially from the economic side. Webster is growing in the entertainment world. With the growth of the Galveston cruise industry, we're seeing more and more tourists through the area. Of course, we got Johnson Space Center. Spaceport Houston now is up and running. We've got the port facilities just a little bit to the north. And we've got every kind of waterfront you can think of, from a canal to a bayou to a lake to a bayfront. So it's quite an interesting appeal for that side of town.
What's going on at Spaceport Houston?
Spaceport is the first sanctioned spaceport that's going to be within the boundaries of a municipality. It's being developed all around Ellington Field right now, and we've got tons of all kinds of aerospace technology as well as other types of technology. AI is a big driver in what's going on in our part of the city.
So many economic drivers in the area.
A lot.
And then the ship channel is not that far away as well.
Correct. We're about maybe 2 miles south of the Bayport Channel, which now is predominantly a container facility, and they're saying we're averaging about 17 to 19,000 18-wheelers every 24 hours coming and going out of Bayport. So there's a huge spin-off industry there of just supporting the port facility there.
And also you mentioned Ellington. Now, what's going on with Ellington? Because we know that it's evolved through the years and also a big driver in the area.
You know, it's the third Houston official airport, and of course the spaceport is being developed all around the surrounding area, just a little bit south and east of Ellington Field itself. So we're seeing large technology facilities being built, a lot of research facilities being built on that area, and it is supposedly going to be the only inner-city launch pad where they will eventually be launching and landing there. So it's quite an exciting development. I mean, NASA's always been a huge driver for Clear Lake, and this has just kind of, expanded that a little bit.
It's funny, sometimes people, when they think that those that are outside of Texas and outside of Houston, they think of Houston as oil and gas, cowboys and horses. There's so much more to it, and it's incredible, this area that we live in called the Greater Houston area.
That's true. I think one of the things that's really kind of unique about Clear Lake, I could take you to lunch to a couple of area restaurants, and you'd be amazed how many different languages you'll hear from engineers that are all there from all over the world working on several different projects.
And we mentioned the sellers, but how about buyers right now, Farron? When you're helping a buyer, give us an idea of some of the things that the buyer should consider.
I think it's an interesting time for a buyer because everyone has talked so much about waiting for interest rates to come down. I think we've seen the recent activity on the part of the Fed that we're probably not going to see any drastic moves on the interest rate side of things, and in parallel with that, we're seeing values continuing to grow in our general area. So unfortunately for some of the buyers who've thought that they should wait for interest rates to come down, I don't think they're gaining anything because values continue to go up. The houses are going to cost a little bit more than what they did the last couple of years, and with the ability with certain lenders where you can buy that rate down, that's one of the things we're seeing become a big driver in our buyer side of the market.
We're talking with Farron Daigle. The company is Farron Daigle Real Estate. What are some of the other things that are going on right now? As far as you mentioned interest rates, well, what about the cash buyer? Are you seeing any cash buyers?
We are. I saw quite a few of those during COVID mostly, but I think one of the biggest drivers in my part of the city is we are in such close proximity to the Bay and what the insurance industry refers to as the high-risk windstorm zone. A large impact on being able to sell homes in our area is the cost of insurance on them. It's exorbitant in some areas depending on your proximity to the water.
So on one hand, we want to be many people will say want to be near the water. At the same time, it can be almost too expensive.
I think very much so for the typical buyer. You mentioned cash buyers. Cash buyers most of them have the capability to self-insure, and we see some of that taking place in the market where they're willing to take the risk. But yes, I mean it's an interesting dynamic because you have the attraction of the water and then you got the expense of being close to the water.
No doubt about it. Well, Farron, give us an idea. You could be doing so many things here in life, but what was it about real estate to begin with that brought you into the fold?
I worked in the retail industry in management for Kroger many years ago, and as working through that, and in the 1980s, I owned a small business where we rented video cassettes and we processed 1 hour film, and we watched
remember those.
We watched that technology come and go as as different things. Just you couldn't take a picture back then with your phone. You couldn't download a movie or stream a movie. And then while I was doing all of that, I got interested in investment property and built up a little bit of a rental portfolio. In '98, when we saw the technology really shift, I decided to get serious about real estate, thinking I would only do it as an investor and a flipper long before we even heard the term much flip, and closed my first transaction with Stewart Title, as a matter of fact, and got hooked. And here I am 27 years later, still playing the game.
Farron, we love when you work with Stewart Title. We appreciate it so much. And those out there listening, indeed we do as you work with us. As far as this being 2025, we're well into it now, Farron. How do you see things unfold based on what you know and looking in the industry and talking to others?
My market's off to a great start, Bill. It was fairly quiet in the fourth quarter of the year, but I am seeing listing activity right now in everything from a condominium to a waterfront property, and I'm seeing buyer activity. We're getting pretty good traffic. It tends to be picking up a little bit. The little cold snap kind of set us back a week or so, but overall, I think our market's looking pretty healthy.
So let's go back to the waterfront view or look. If someone wants to buy something with, let's say, just a waterfront view, what kind of dollars are we in?
You're probably starting maybe in the very upper threes, but most likely in the mid fours on up, just depending on the type of water. I mean, my area, we have a lot of boating activity, and we've got some places right off of Clear Lake where you can use a small boat. And, of course, we got the marinas, and there's a huge marina in Kemah, for instance, where once you're out the ship channel, you're good to go wherever you want to go. Well, I've worked by referral for a long time, participated in the Brian Buffini coaching program a few years ago, and I think that really helped me build my business by referral. I do all of my business by referral. I don't really do a whole lot of advertising. I'm in social media, but I'm kind of an old guy, so that's still new territory for me.
And if someone wants to reach out to you, what number should they call?
It's 713-922-9754. 713-922-9754.
And do you have a website?
It is farrondaigle.com. It's F like Frank, ARONDAIGLE.
Once again, the number, Farron, is
713-922-9754.
Thanks for being with us.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
As we continue, let's talk to Nathan Lalonde. He is with Compass Real Estate. Nathan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, Bill. Pleasure to be here today.
Well, here you are. Let's tell people about Compass.
So Compass is a nationwide brokerage, one of the bigger brokerages out there. One of the great things about Compass is they really focus on using technology to empower not only their agents, but also buyers and sellers. They've got a lot of different programs as well, like Private Exclusive, that allows you to kind of pre-market your home to Compass agents before you go on the MLS. Programs like Compass Concierge that allow you to do updates to your home without having to do it out of pocket. And then Compass One is a new program that's being rolled out by Compass, a big all-encompassing suite of tools for buyers and sellers to be able to track the entire process as they're going through a real estate transaction. So a lot of cool stuff within Compass and technology.
So a lot of tools to help buyers and sellers.
Right.
Well, give us an idea. Let's say someone is a buyer right now and they come to you, Nathan Lalonde, and they say, hey, Nathan, I'm looking for, well, geographically, let's tell people the areas that you're frequenting the most.
The majority of my business is going to be Cypress, Tomball, Spring. I do also work in the Woodlands and do some business up in the Woodlands and as far west as Katy, sometimes out in Hockley and Waller as well.
Well, let's take Cypress right now. Someone wants to see some property in Cypress, and maybe they have $450,000, let's say. What can we get for that price point?
Actually, quite a lot is available in that price point in some of the bigger neighborhoods too. Some of the more master plan communities, 450 will get you a pretty good size, kind of upwards of 2,500 up to 3,000 square foot in a lot of neighborhoods out in Cypress. If you're looking at more new construction, it gets a little bit more limited in that area for that price range. Newer construction in places like Bridgeland, Town Lake, Amira kind of start out at that 400 range for something that's going to be about 2,200 square foot. So, but there's still plenty of good smaller one stories and things like that for that 450 range out in our area.
And also, I mean, I went through Cypress I think there was a brand new HEB, just a large flagship, we'll say.
The largest HEB in Texas.
Is it really?
In Bridgeland, yes,
It's
sir.
It's beautiful. I went there. There's a barbecue restaurant attached to it, but also right across the lot. You've been there, right?
Right.
Right across the lot, there's a building where I guess at some point there's going to be restaurants, and it's going to be, it looks like so much is happening out there. Give us an idea of some of those retail things that are happening.
In Bridgeland, they've been promising the retail aspect of things for quite a long time, and now it's all starting to roll out. The building you're mentioning is going to be one of the largest Starbucks in the world.
Jonathan's the Rub, a good friend of our show, is going to have a location there too.
Yeah. So all this stuff that has been coming for Bridgeland, that's been the big draw of Bridgeland as they've been building out, it's all starting to come through on the commercial side now. They're really doing a lot of the groundwork for different commercial things that are going into the area. So a lot of great stuff is going to be coming to that area really soon.
So meanwhile, for someone again in the $450,000 price point. They can live in a nice area in the Cypress area.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, a lot of still great options for new construction on the smaller end of that 450. Of course, if you're doing resale, then there's going to be a lot more options for you in that 400 to 450 range.
And right now, Nathan, how's the marketplace in terms of activity that you're seeing?
Well, I think that in the Cypress and really all around the northwest side, things are always moving. In Q4 of last year, things had kind of slowed down a shade, but I think that we're seeing a good start to 2025. All signs point to a better year than we've been having over the last couple of years in real estate. So.
But as I'm thinking about the scope of Compass, one of the things I would think that happens is from a relocation standpoint, you're connected to so many other cities and states. How does that help promote the business right here in Houston for you?
Correct. Houston is a destination spot for so many other areas. We have people coming in from East Coast, West Coast, Chicago, Michigan areas. A lot of people are coming to Houston because of the housing being at a cheaper price point. And so a lot of industries here, and being tied into that national, network of realtors really does help get those types of referrals. And I speak with people from California, Bay Area, over in California all the time, having clients that are looking to relocate to the Houston area. A lot of times those are cash buyers because they're selling something over in California for well over $1 million, and then coming into the Cypress location and are surprised by what all they're able to buy with their money coming from California. So,
they'll still have some money left over.
Exactly.
To go to the HEB and all the other great things that are happening out there.
Yeah, definitely.
But there's no doubt about it. So we're still seeing people, you're talking to them from California, but you've also mentioned some other places that you're seeing some people thinking about Houston. Chicago?
I had several people coming from Illinois and Chicago area. A lot of people from Michigan and Detroit, Pennsylvania. Have had several clients relocating from over in Pennsylvania area. So coming down to, Texas, getting into warmer areas, getting a lot of that traffic coming our way.
We're talking with Nathan Lalonde. He's with Compass Real Estate. What are some of the other things we should know about as far as Cypress, but also let's talk about some of the other towns and cities that are in the area that you're at a lot?
Well, there's a lot of construction and new homes going in all over the place. You go a little further out 290 from Cypress, and there's several new developments, Jubilee, Grand Prairie springing up. You go out to the Magnolia area. You've got Escondido and a bunch of different places like that popping up. So, the northwest side of town is one of the fastest growing areas in the country. Montgomery County is one of the fastest growing, definitely the fastest growing county in Texas, and one of the fastest growing counties in all of the USA. So, if you're coming out from inner city looking for, more land, bigger space, and newer homes, there's going to be a lot of options for you coming out to the northwest side.
Interesting. And as I'm thinking about it, I would think there's a lot of reasons why the growth is there, but one of them is there's room, or at least it used to be as they started Cypress those many years ago, and then 99 it was a big highway out there. So, yeah, it's a lot of growth, no doubt.
Definitely. You know, Cypress used to be that far-off place. I live in a neighborhood called Fairfield. It used to be affectionately known as Farfield because there wasn't anything, anywhere close to it. So, but you're right. You've got the area to grow, the area to expand. Great school districts out in that area as well, both Cy-Fair ISD and Tomball and Katy and the Woodlands, all good school districts. And that's a big draw for a lot of people too.
And at this point in time, Nathan, are you helping more buyers or more sellers, or what's the ratio?
Yeah, I feel like it's a little skewed for me more towards the seller side of things, and that's a little bit more where I focus on as well. It's probably about 60-40 sellers versus buyers.
And as far as marketing, what are the things that you're doing outside in conjunction with Compass to market your services?
Right. You know, as a realtor and in real estate, I feel like the days of just listing a home, taking pictures, pop in on the MLS, those days are kind of past. You really have to market your homes to another level. So as an agent, I'm as much of a marketer as I am a salesperson. You got to be able to get your listings out to a wide variety of areas that are further out than just the MLS, right? So whether it be social media on Facebook and Instagram or TikTok, getting it out into some of the different groups online and really marketing your properties out there. So whether it be through paid advertising or just popping your media for a listing out onto different beg barter sites or different online groups, you really have to become as much of a marketer, I feel, in today's real estate world as you are a sales agent.
And as far as listing these properties and marketing them, I would think also Compass, you have a couple extra tools to do that as you talk to people about listing their homes.
Right. You know, so Compass has what they call a 3-phase marketing plan, which is where you start off in what they call private exclusive. And that allows you to maybe test out a certain price point on your home without having to have it active on the MLS. Because, you know, once a home's been on the market for a certain amount of time, you've got a days on market, you know, that's starting to get up there. If you've done a price drop or something like that, it's almost like blood in the water, right? So having the ability to market your home to Compass agents internally on the private exclusive without having to worry about days on market and price drops is very beneficial. And then you go from there into a Compass coming soon, which will last about a week period, and then you can release it onto the active MLS and go public. And it's kind of like movie trailers, right? You have a movie coming out and they want to build up steam and momentum and excitement about the movie. And that's the same kind of thinking behind the Compass private exclusive and coming soon.
Sounds great. Nathan, before we close this segment, what else do you want people to know?
Well, like I said, I work mostly on the northwest side of town, but as a realtor in Houston, you really have to go all over the place, right? But when working with me, my first goal is to make sure that everybody that I work with is extremely informed throughout the entire process. I never want people to feel like they don't know what's coming next in a real estate transaction. And then if you're working with me on the seller side of things, I'm going to go to the next level to market your home using all sorts of different social media, video, pictures, all types of different things to get it done.
How can people reach you, Nathan Lalonde?
Well, you can call me at 281-650-5210, or you can email me at nathan.lalonde@compass.com. Lalonde is spelled Lalonde. Or you can reach me on my website at nathanlalonderealtor.com. 281-650-5210.
Thanks for being with us, Nathan.
Bill, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Let's talk to Tina Rivera. Her company is called Arc Electric and Lighting. Tina, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Bill.
Well, let's tell people, first of all, this is a show first, Tina, and we always like show first. Our listeners go crazy when we have someone on that's never been on in a profession such as yours before. Let's tell people what your company does.
So Arc Electric and Lighting is a full-service electrical contractor. We do everything related to electrical work, lighting, and generators for residential and commercial customers. And I want to add by saying I love being the first, and I hope I'm the last.
You are the first electrician to be on the show. And first of all, without electricity, where would we be, especially in this city where we live on life support, heat, and humidity? But in the meantime, electricity is so important to the home, and it's developed in such a way here in 2025. So many things come to mind, but covering a few things first. First of all, you would do repairs in the home, electrical repairs. Would that be safe to say?
That's an accurate statement, yes. And with the unreliability of the grid in the current market, we find ourselves doing a lot of major repairs to electrical lines for homeowners, because with these power outages, what happens is power surges back into their home. Those lines lose conductivity. And it's not always on the customer side that they're responsible for repairs. Sometimes it's on the utility side. But we find ourselves doing a lot of that and surge protection for homeowners these days.
And that's a good thing. You mentioned surge protection. I mean, most people, I don't think about surging. I just think about, I want to turn something on, I want it to come on, and those sorts of things. And obviously, we want to make sure everything's safe. How many times are you helping homes to make sure things are safe? Because I guess sometimes fires happen from electricity, but how do we know we're safe in our home? Or should we call you and you do an inspection? How does that work?
Yeah, so there's usually indicators first in the home when you're having dimming lights or outlets sparking. We don't always assume that this home is not safe, but a way to alleviate those concerns is to have a thorough electrical inspection done by a licensed electrical contractor, which Arc Electric and Lighting is, not just an electrician. So there's a distinct difference between the two.
So first of all, now we have someone we can call to fix something in the home, to make sure things are safe. But now we're going to get to the fun stuff. Generators.
Yeah.
I mean, people are talking more about generators more than ever since I've lived here in Houston for several decades. Tell us how you're helping people with generators.
Generators are definitely a hot topic right now. Whether you're buying or selling a home, we are installing 1 to 2 weeks out, which sets us apart from most of our competitors. We're definitely a mom and pop. The larger companies are about 6 to 12 months out right now. But for the sake of real estate, what I'll do is tell you, when you're buying a home that has a generator, the first things that you'll look at is the maintenance of the generator, when it was installed and how it was installed. For your transactions, you want to ask for that information. And if you're selling a home with the generator, it's the exact opposite, right? You want to make sure that you're keeping those service records, the receipts for when it was purchased. It's my opinion as an electrician with some bias, right, that a generator definitely adds value to any transaction, whether you're buying or selling, so long as those records are intact.
And that's a good point. So if someone already has made the investment last year, last month, whatever, 2 years ago, a good thing now that you have your generator out there, keep records so that, like you're saying,
Easy to sell.
Easy to sell. You have it in a nice folder. It looks good.
Sure.
That's another way to help sell our homes in a quicker and more efficient way.
And I'll add that often in our space, generators are compared to solar panels, right? I'm very much aware of the pulse of solar panels out in the market right now. When you purchase a generator, a lien is not attached to the home as it is with a solar panel transaction. And so it makes that home more marketable. And I can speak on that because I work with hundreds of realtors, and I've never seen a closing transaction delayed because there was a generator in place or a lien attached. So.
And of course, you just said you are an actual electrician.
Yes.
So you could work on something yourself, but also you're the owner of the company, you and your husband.
Yes, I own the company with my husband, who's been an electrician his entire life. We're a COVID-born business. What that means is he was laid off at the beginning of the pandemic, which should have been May 2020. He started this just kind of, trying to stay busy. We have 4 children. And it picked up, and ultimately I ended up leaving a legal director role 3 months after we were in business at a company. I was there for 14 years. So one of the caveats was that I get to own the company with him, and I own a majority stake. So
sounds like you're the boss.
I am the boss.
And while we're taking inventory, you have the 4 children, but let's tell people you also have some other inhabitants.
Oh, yeah, we have 3 dogs. We have 3 English bulldogs. Thanks for recognizing them. Callie, Nellie, and Nola. So.
And I saw the pictures before we started talking. They are so cute.
Yes.
I mean, so awesome. So in the meantime, let's just review the generator thing again.
Sure.
So if I want to buy a generator, I call you first and you help me find the generator too, or I have to buy the generator and you install it? How's
That's
it
a
work?
good question. We only install generators we provide, so we offer full turnkey service.
Full package.
Yes. So if you buy it and you want me to install it, I won't do it, and I'll tell you why.
I don't want to do it that way.
I'm thankful for that, but the reasoning behind that is because I can't guarantee the quality of the generator that you've purchased, and sometimes that brings some headache for me and you. So we've found that when we only offer full turnkey services, we can promise you the best experience. And we do. We're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. And like I said, we're 1 to 2 weeks out. We offer all brands. We're not partial to anyone. And
I think that's a way to work it, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you're in the business, but if I want a generator, I don't want to be messing around with all these people. I want to buy the generator, you install it, and,
Yes.
and we go from there, right?
Yes, and we help you with the HOA process, any type of permitting processes. We do offer financing. There's some 0% options out there, and we can help you with your home or business generator.
Sounds good to me. Now, that's another fun thing. That's a 2025, and people have been thinking of it for the last couple of years, electric cars. So there are people out there that already have electric cars. Many things come to mind, but when you mentioned about the generator being an asset when we sell a home, I would think it's also an asset to have the car set up so that if someone has an electric car or they're looking at homes and they have an electric car, here's the setup ready to go. That's a nice thing too.
Yeah. And we install EV chargers on a regular basis. In that scenario, we can install one that you've purchased yourself if it was directly from the vehicle manufacturer, because it's generally new, used, and untouched. Or we can provide the full turnkey service. Electric vehicle chargers have increased tremendously just in the last 12 months. And we're able to help with those. We install what are called superchargers. So there's a huge price difference in between something you can buy on Amazon versus what a supercharger is. And a supercharger prepares that vehicle for the entire day. You're not having to stop in the middle of your work day or your commute to charge at like a station. And we can help with that. So,
because there's probably people that think, well, if I buy an electric car, then I have to go through the hassle of getting an electrician and all that. It's not that big a deal. It's a phone call and you do it.
And we have baseline pricing, and that's something that's usually done in a couple hours. It's a quick process. The homeowner doesn't need to be home. It's just done and ready when they get there. Same thing for the generators.
Well, give us an idea. I'm sure it depends on the garage, the
Panel placement.
panel, and those sorts of things. But how much does it cost to get ready to have a supercharger in my home for my electric car that I don't have yet?
I would say you should budget between $600 to $1,000 for
It's
that.
not a big deal.
It's not. And we offer financing, so yeah, and cash discounts.
So it's exciting to be in the world that you're in, I think, Tina, because we depend on electricity so much, and it's also mysterious. You have to have qualified people and people that you trust when doing repairs, installations of this nature.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely when it comes to your chargers and generators, because that is not the same type of work that, like, let's say a handyman could do, right? That's definitely considered high voltage work. There are inherent risks associated with that work for the homeowner and for the tradesman that is executing that project. So you always want to make sure that we're licensed and we're insured. Little scary thing that we like to share, because we're big on consumer education, is that if we're not licensed or properly insured, then ultimately the homeowners can be responsible for anything that we damage, or even our team members that get hurt. And so it's easy to verify that information at the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. That is a public website. You can search people's names and make sure that you're working with a worthy company.
And about how many people are in your company?
We have 24 people in our company.
It's a nice size.
Oh.
We're talking with Tina Rivera. The company is Arc Electric and Lighting. Let's talk about lighting.
Sure.
What kind of lighting jobs do you do, or installations?
Sure. So we are happy to take any work, whether it's just installing a chandelier or replacing a chandelier in your home, all the way to full retrofits in the home or remodels. For real estate transaction, it really does come down to repairs and aesthetics for the home to make it more appealing to buyers. We help with that, all the way from new construction, where we start with the underground wiring and finishing the job up until the street lights.
You know,
get
the
done.
nice thing about electricity during a freeze or something is the electricity doesn't freeze.
Yeah.
It can only go out, but
Right.
it doesn't freeze.
That's a great thing.
That's one of the things I like.
Yeah, me
So,
too.
in the meantime, Tina Rivera, what else should we know?
I want to remind you that we do offer financing. We do have discounts for educators, medical workers, law enforcement, and veterans, and senior citizens. And we do offer a number of different financing cash discounts. We pride ourselves in our install dates for generators being pretty firm, and we're reputable. We have a charitable arm called Love Arc, where we're committed to giving back to our community. We're very well known for that.
Oh, right quick, before we close the segment, Tina, marketing. Now, one of the things I'm hearing that you're very good at social media. Give us a quick word on how someone in the real estate world or anywhere else can enhance their social media skills. Do you like Facebook?
We do like Facebook, primarily because that's where our target demographic is. If you know, Facebook allows you to see the location and the age group of the people that you're communicating with. That has really been instrumental in helping us leverage our business and grow it to the point that it has grown. We have a highly focused customer group and following that are heavy on engagement with us, good or bad. I encourage you to follow us to see what I'm talking about. And we recycle our content on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. It's all the same stuff, but you do have to show up so that you're top of mind. And
You are showing up, no doubt,
show
right?
up, yeah.
ARC, Electrical and Lighting. Let's tell people how to reach your company, Tina.
So you can reach us at yourfavoriteelectricians.com. And I want to remind you that it's ARC with a C, not with a K. Our office phone number is 281-909-4299. Or you can reach us on our website, yourfavoriteelectricians.com.
Yourfavoriteelectricians.com. How can we forget that, Tina?
It's trademarked.
And the phone number again is
281-909-4299.
Thanks, Tina.
Thank you.
If you're a real estate professional, then listen closely. Cyber criminals are targeting our industry. They are impersonating real estate professionals, homebuyers, sellers, and title agents. Their goal is to gain access to your inboxes, computers, and clients so they can steal information and funds. Does your business insurance offset these risks? Not sure? Contact Stewart Insurance to determine if your business is properly insured. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.
Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title would not be possible without our partner, Stewart Insurance. With a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers, Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risks. Here he is with Stewart Insurance, John Bramlett.
Howdy, Bill. Nice to be with you. Well, I thought today, Bill, we might do a little bit of a kind of a random glossary.
There you go.
That, you know, every industry has its own terminology and it seems like its own language. And it's easy for us to get, in any industry, to kind of get caught up in that. And we tend to speak in that language that maybe others don't understand. So I wanted to at least start sharing some of those different terms that might be helpful for folks so they got to have a better feel for what we're saying as we work through an insurance process or as they're reading an insurance policy.
There's no doubt insurance has a language all its own.
We can just kind of randomly start with many times you'll see the term actual cash value or replacement cost. And what that takes into consideration is actual cash value is what the insurance company will help pay to repair a property or structure, but they take into the depreciation. So, for example, if you had a couch that was damaged and the couch was 3 years old, before they would begin to pay that claim, they would depreciate or take into consideration the age of the couch because you've already had use of those first 3 years, so they're not going to cover that. If you have replacement costs, they'll replace the property or the structure at today's market without depreciation. So those are a couple of elements that are important to understand. Sometimes you'll hear the term insured and insurer. So the insured are just us, the consumers, the people that have the policy, and the insurer is the insurance company. So it's easy to get caught up in talking about the insured and what they need to do and really it's just the person or the company that has a policy is the insured, and then the insurer is the insurance company. Now, you'll sometimes see named insured on a policy, and that's the person or business that who the policy holder is. So a named insured on an errors and omissions company would be the real estate brokerage or the broker owner. The named insured on a home insurance policy would be the owner of the home. Sometimes because of business reasons, you might want to have an additional insured or a named insured on the policy. An additional insured is usually a third party where the coverage is extended to them. Those are all important. We've heard the term deductible. So that's the amount that the insured, whether it be an individual or a company, is responsible for. They agree to pay out of pocket before the company, the insurance company steps in and takes over or shoulders the cost. So it's important to understand that deductible, because your deductible can be relatively low or can be really high. And many times the driver on the deductible could be the risk involved in insuring whatever is being insured, or it could be a driver in the cost or the premium of the insurance. So the premium is the cost that we pay, whether we're an individual or a company, for that insurance. So if an insured or potential insurer is concerned about the cost of the insurance, many times we can adjust the premium that might reduce that principal, or adjust the deductible, increase the deductible. That can reduce the premium. However, now as an individual or a company, we're taking on a bit more responsibility before an insurance company can step in.
And that's one of the great things at Stewart Insurance. The associates help you with that as you're discussing rates and getting quotes. You can maneuver certain things along with the associate to be properly insured, to find the right price, to find the right coverage, all those things.
Well, that's another great term that we have that's unique to Stewart Insurance, is that idea of being properly insured. And all that means is that whatever coverage you have, whether it be the most robust or very conservative policy, as long as you're comfortable with that and you're comfortable understanding what you do and don't have coverage for, then in our eyes, you're properly insured. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the only time you're properly insured is that you have the largest policy possible. It's just understanding, does that make sense for my business or for my family at this time? And if it does, and you understand what you do and don't have coverage for, in our world, that you're properly insured.
It's like tailoring a suit or something.
Absolutely, it is that. And
it's got to fit.
It does, because, we have there are different phases of our lives and different phases of our business. If I'm starting out as a broker and it's just me and a partner, we're only helping buyers and sellers of residential real estate. What my need, and we're working remotely, my needs will be different than 10 years from now, when I have, 5 locations in 5 cities, and I have, 500 realtors working for me, and we're also doing commercial work, and we're also doing property management. There's a significant difference in needs. So as you grow, and the same with your family, if it's a couple starting off, what their home coverage needs may be significantly different when they suddenly have children, or if they're using real estate as an investment, they would need to look at some dwelling fire coverage. So again, as a family grows and changes, and as a business grows and changes, or as an individual grows and changes, then your insurance needs are going to grow and change as well.
And the one thing we know is things are changing all the time in every category of our lives, and insurance, real estate. So it's something that we need to take stock of. All our financial things, but insurance plays such a big role. Every now and then I'm thinking, okay, do I have the right insurance? Am I paying the right price? Am I getting the coverage? All these other financial things we think about as we go forth, because it's all changing.
Well, it is, and another example of that glossary, and one that's unique to us, is the idea of working with an insurance advisor versus working with an insurance agent. Because an insurance advisor is somebody that's going to help tailor that policy or policies for your family or your business, and they're going to do so by building a plan that makes sense for your family or business, versus an agent that's just going to try to sell you a policy and move on down the road. So we really try to avoid that we really try to make sure that when we're working with a real estate business or a family, that we're building a plan that makes sense for them. And the way to do that is to be able to have those conversations that you mentioned.
John, what are some of the other things we should know?
Well, I mean, the first, if you've heard the term claim, and all that simply means is that's when you have signified that you want some help with the insurance, that it's time for you to take advantage of the insurance that you're paying on, so you filed a claim. It's always important to know where your declaration page is, or sometimes you'll hear the term deck page, and that gives you an overview or details of what's in that policy. So it's important to understand that, so you know what is and isn't coverage, or at least on a higher level. You understand what your premium is going to be. You understand what your deductibles are going to be. So that's really important. It's also important to understand the conditions, which is another section within the insurance policy. And the conditions let you know what your responsibility is as a company or as an individual, and then what are the responsibilities of the insurance company. So you know what I need to do in order to maintain my coverage, what I need to do in order to establish a claim, and then we're going to know what the insurance companies, what their responsibility is as well. So it's important to understand what's in that conditions section. And the policy itself is simply a contract between the insurance company and an individual, between the insurance company and a family, or the insurance company and an organization or a real estate business, and it just defines what is and is not covered. It's important to understand how to cancel a policy, because there are going to be times when you're going to want to change something. You're decided to close your business, or you're moving homes, and you're going to need a different type of policy. So understanding how you cancel policy is listed, how you can cancel policy is listed in that contract, in that policy. So being able to know that, are there restrictions? Could I get a portion of what I paid back? And if so, what was that portion? How do I notify a company, or how is a company going to notify me? Because there are stipulations where the individual or the company can cancel the policy, but there are also stipulations where the insurance company can cancel that policy.
So in the meantime, John, let's tell people how they can reach you.
They can reach us at Stewart Insurance at 866-798-2827. That's 866-798-2827. They can learn more about us at stewartinsurance.com, and they can email us at stewartinsurance@stewart.com.
Phone number again, one more time.
866-798-2827.
Thank you. John Bramlett with Stewart Insurance, and, of course, stewartinsurance.com. If you're outside of Houston, Texas, you can also be insured by calling Stewart Insurance, stewartinsurance.com. And now he is back, Farron Daigle with Farron Daigle Real Estate. Well, Farron, here we are, last few minutes of the show. Let's tell people, what else should they know about what you're doing and how they're going to be able to reach you?
Well, I'm easy to reach. I'm all over the internet like everybody else, and Facebook, and you name it, we're all out there. It's just, this has been a great pleasure for me. It's always fun to participate in things about our very diversified, vibrant city. I mean, it's a great market to be in, because we bring people in from all over the world, literally, and our city just keeps growing and changing and evolving. It's an exciting place.
It really is, and it's changing all the time. But there's so many different economic drivers here. When I think about it for the 50th time, there's just so many things going on, and people don't realize it. How often do you have someone that may have moved here that you've served, and they've never been here before until they bought a house from you or something?
That happens quite a bit, actually.
And what do they tell you about their experience when they're like, man, Farron, I didn't know it was going to be like this, or I like this, I didn't like...
Heat and humidity is one, especially depending on what part of the country they're coming from. It takes a little bit to acclimate to that. I think our restaurant scene, our entertainment scene, even our fine arts scene in Houston, people just, I don't think the rest of the country's real educated. They still think we all wear cowboy boots and, go check the oil well in the morning on the way out to work.
Well, we'll be doing that soon here on the show, by the way, and as we get to the Go Texan editions. But that's exactly right. But also, especially in the Clear Lake area, but I guess all over, you have the Moody Gardens. You have so many entertainment things, water, it's wild.
Galveston is a huge part of our world now, Bill. I mean, with the expansion of the cruise industry, Moody Gardens, as you mentioned, yes. There's huge entertainment venues all opening up. We got Great Wolf Lodge in Webster right off of 45.
What's that?
It's a huge hotel entertainment complex, family-oriented, has a great, nice convention room in it, and it's attracting people from all over the country.
Sounds good to me, Farron. Let's tell people how they can reach you.
You can find me on the internet at www.farrondaigle.com, or you can call me at 713-922-9754. Again, it's 713-922-9754.
Thank you, Farron Daigle. And now, Nathan Lalonde with Compass Real Estate. Nathan, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back, Bill.
Well, here you are, winding down the show. Let's tell people, what are some of the other things maybe we missed that you want people to know about?
Well, I've been in the business for 8 years. I'm also a broker. I have been a licensed broker for 2 years. My wife and I and our 4 kids have lived out in Cypress area for 36 years now.
Wow.
So, yeah, very experienced on the northwest side of town.
Were you born in Texas?
I was not. No, I was born in Missouri, but got to Texas as quick as I could.
Well, here we are. Yeah, I'm from Pennsylvania, and it's been a while since I've been down here. So as far as 4 kids,
yeah.
So how do you stay organized? Real estate on its own has so many things that you have to tend to with each transaction, so many details, and 4 children.
You know, dealing with a real estate transaction's not much unlike dealing with 4 kids.
I would think to stay organized, right?
Right. Yeah, just staying on top of every different aspect and juggling different schedules, different priorities, and things of that nature. So, I would say being a dad of 4 kids has definitely prepared me well to stay on top of transaction. For
Very
sure.
exciting. Any pets at the house?
A dog and a cat, yes.
A dog and a cat. What kind of dog do you have?
We've got a golden retriever, about 1-year-old pup at the moment. So you can reach me at 281-650-5210, or you can email me at nathan.lalonde@compass.com, or you can get my website at nathanlalonderealtor.com, and I'm all over the socials as well.
Phone number is?
281-650-5210.
Good to see you, Nathan. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks again for having me, Bill.
And she is back, Tina Rivera with ARC Electric and Lighting. That's ARC, A-R-C, right, Tina?
Yes, ARC with a C, not with a K.
And as we close the show, what else do you want people to know, Tina?
So we can still help you with permanent lighting too, landscape lighting and things like that. But if
you're in the dark, call Tina.
Yeah, and we help you stay lit.
Okay.
We own that trademark too.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot going into building a business as you've done here in the past few years, but I like the trademark stuff that you're doing because it shows vision and forward thinking.
Yeah. Our goal originally was to try to franchise our business, but we're not now. We took a poll from our customer base, and one of the things that we got in the feedback was that some companies lose that genuine or that authenticity connection wise with the customer. So we're not doing that, but in the process we trademarked your favorite electricians, stay lit, don't sit in the dark, and let us light the way. We don't use let us light the way because it's not really liked. So
well, one thing as I'm thinking here, Tina, and after meeting you, I hope I don't have any electrical issues at my home, but I almost wish I did. Does I call you guys up?
Yeah.
What's the phone number?
281-909-4299.
And you said something about being a chairwoman of something real quick. Let's tell people what that is.
Yeah, so I'm co-chairing the 2025 Building Hope Gala benefiting Habitat for Humanity Montgomery County. So that's a philanthropic group that builds affordable housing for the community. The event is May 3rd, 2025. It's Derby themed, all bets on you. And we'd love for everyone to attend or reach out to me if you're interested in a sponsorship.
That sounds good. So you're connecting with the community in several ways, it sounds like.
This is our 4th year, I believe, that we're involved with Habitat. We're involved with a number of charitable organizations, but this is probably the biggest responsibility we've assumed to date.
And once again, people can reach you by calling
281-909-4299 or on my website at yourfavoriteelectricians.com.
At yourfavoriteelectricians.com. Tina, thanks for being with us. Thank you all for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stuart Title. I am your host, Bill Knapik. Simply go to stewart.com/radio. You can see and hear all the past shows. Again, Bill Knapik, and together with John Bramlett and all of us at Stuart Title and Stuart Insurance, thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.